Coming up on OC News, find out which state has its first confirmed Omicron COVID case.
Plus, major developments from downtown Fullerton involving bar and restaurant JP23.
And you'll never guess which Grammy-winning artist has a new residency in Las Vegas.
This and more up next.
This just in tech news. The first responder on police.
There's been a lot of collaborative efforts.
I feel blessed to be here in Fullerton.
Brought to you by the broadcast journalism students
at Cal State Fullerton. OC News starts right now.
Good evening and thank you for joining us at OC News. I'm Jonathan Soto.
And I'm Chris Adler. OC News is brought to you by the broadcast journalism students at Cal State Fullerton. The United States' first confirmed case of the Omicron coronavirus variant has been identified in San Francisco, California. Late last week, the United States announced a travel ban from South Africa after the World Health Organization announced the new variant. On Sunday, the infected patient arrived at the University of San Francisco for testing and tested positive earlier today. Despite it being a new variant, the patient currently has mild symptoms and has not been hospitalized. The Biden administration is once again urging the public to get vaccinated or schedule an appointment for the booster if eligible.
We're learning more every single day, and we'll fight this variant with science and speed, not chaos and confusion. So let me repeat what the doctors and scientists have affirmed. The best protection against Omicron is getting a booster shot. Right now, about 135 million Americans are eligible for a booster, but only about 40 million have gotten one thus far. If you're over 18 years of age, you got vaccinated before June 1, go get your booster shot today. And if you're not vaccinated, now's the time to get vaccinated and take your children to get vaccinated. Every child over the age of 5 can get a safe, effective vaccination.
4 students are confirmed dead and 7 others injured after a shooting occurred at Oxford High School in Michigan on Tuesday afternoon. The 15-year-old male suspect was taken into custody and is facing adult charges with 4 counts of first-degree murder and terrorism causing death, along with several counts of assault with intent to murder and possession of a firearm in the commission of a felony. Authorities say the suspect and his parents met with school officials earlier on the day of the shooting over behavioral concerns before being released back into the school. Oakland County Prosecutor Karen McDonald says security camera footage and other digital evidence like social media show that the shooting was premeditated. The suspect is now being processed at Oakland County Jail after a plea of not guilty was entered by his lawyer at the arraigned earlier today. McDonald urges the public to think about and address the issue of gun violence.
If the incident yesterday with 4 children being murdered and multiple kids being injured is not enough to revisit our gun laws, I don't know what is. I'm a parent. There are parents here. There are parents listening. We need to make sure and want to know that when we send our kid to school, they're safe. And responsible gun ownership is imperative. It's critical.
This past August, a woman claimed she was drugged and raped at downtown Fullerton bar JP23. The story caught my attention, and after posting to social media that I was interested in speaking with victims, a handful of women who want to remain anonymous personally reached out to me. Most of them claiming they too were drugged and raped after visiting JP23 and other downtown Fullerton bars. I realized quickly this was not an isolated incident. Samantha Velasquez came forward to take a stand for herself and all victims.
When I got my daughter, she was bruised all over her back and her knees. The examination was so painful for her because of the force that they did. They scratched her insides and their outsides.
A mother desperately pleading at the Fullerton City Council meeting in August after her daughter claimed she was drugged and raped after drinking at popular downtown Fullerton bar JP23. 23-year-old Samantha Velasquez told OC News in September that her rape kit determined there was blunt force trauma and that she was a victim of sexual assault.
I have cuts on the outside and inside of my genital area.
4 months since Samantha's reported rape and no arrests made, the Fullerton Police Department has been the brunt of public criticism, with some accusing the department of not actively handling the investigation. Fullerton PD saying that is simply not the case.
We have a assigned detective that has been working this case nonstop and is aware of what's going on, has looked at every little piece of evidence that we can do, contacted everybody that's possible, and is continuing to diligently work the case. But because of the sensitive nature, we can't speak on the particular details.
Men and women in the public have criticized Jacob Puzakala, the owner of JP23, claiming he has long fostered a sexually violent atmosphere under his roof. Puzakala has been outraged by the protests, calling them smear campaigns and saying, with the exception of a few people, the protests are, quote, politically driven to shut down the business specifically. Puzakala seen here in an altercation with protesters in September.
And protesters have rallied outside of JP23 for months, demanding that the bar be shut down, claiming that Jacob Puzakala does indeed condone a violent atmosphere within the bar. Puzakala faces a civil trial in June of 2023, where 2 bar patrons filed a lawsuit less than a year ago, claiming one of his bartenders physically attacked them and was never fired.
This specific lawsuit is not Puzakala's first run-in with legal trouble, as a simple name search in the Orange County Superior Court shows a history of nearly 24 cases involving the bar owner. He appears as a defendant in at least 20 of those cases, including breach of contract, personal injury, and employment complaints. Other minor cases against Puzakala are unlawful detainers, misdemeanors, and infractions. In a libel lawsuit filed by Jacob Puzakala on November 3rd, he names Luis Huang, a candidate running for mayor of Irvine, and Samantha Velasquez, among others. The 9-page complaint states that Huang sent a defamatory email to Fullerton City Council members and others, claiming that Jacob Puzakala and his security staff have raped women themselves at JP23. The alleged email did not show a name or email address, confirming that it was in fact Huang who sent that email. Puzakala says his business has taken a major hit, saying he's lost about 50% of his revenue and that his staff has also felt the impacts. A bartender at JP23 confirmed that business has been slower than usual. Although he declined several requests for an on-camera interview, Puzakala did tell OC News that his bar has implemented many changes, such as cautionary posters in the bathrooms where patrons can order special drinks to secretly and safely alert the bartenders that they need help. The bar has also stopped serving shareable drinks like fish bowls and says they are in the process of providing caps for drinks. The Fullerton Police Department says they have not seen an uptick in date rape cases per se, but do warn the public that excessive alcohol consumption can have similar effects on the body and have offered advice for future visitors.
One is the most important is have a plan on how you're going to get home before you go to the bars. Obviously, being able to drink changes your judgment and makes things a little bit more difficult. So make sure we communicate with friends, how we're going to get home, who's driving, whether we're taking Ubers, taxis. Have that plan before you actually leave the house so that you everyone's on the same page.
Samantha says she now suffers from social anxiety, but is trying to pick up the pieces after the devastation she suffered last summer. Her hope, along with the protesters, is that justice will prevail. In Fullerton for OC News, I'm Chris Adler.
Wow, great job on that story, Crystal. But I did read about that Jacob is planning on opening another bar.
That's right, Jonathan. Actually, he has recently just opened that bar, and the protests have begun in Long Beach, where the location of the new bar is. So I think for a long time, we're going to continue to see these protests. The community still feels that Jacob Puzakala still has a responsibility. And as Puzakala told Fox 11 News, whatever happens under his roof is his responsibility. But as we saw, he is suing a few people for libel. You know, initially he did tell me that he does stand with rape victims, but now we're seeing this libel lawsuit. So there really is no telling what's going to happen, but I don't think we'll see any kind of fizzling of these protests anytime soon.
Wow, okay. Well, coming up on OC News, with technology advancing, many thought paper books may be a thing of the past. Find out how they are still hanging on.
Plus, Cal State Fullerton men's basketball was back in action against Wyoming.
about.
I don't think that many kids in my son's school even do it.
He makes fun of his friend who vapes.
He would never try it.
She's into soccer.
She's on the honor roll.
She's just not the type.
No way.
No way.
No way.
No way, my kid would never vape.
Get your head out of the cloud. Today, nearly 8,000 kids will start vaping. Maybe even yours. Learn about the dangers at talkaboutvaping.org.
Worried about your friend, but don't know how to reach out?
You could say, how are you, or get a fake tattoo. You could ask with an app if it works for you. You could chat with them in VR, it's all good. If you think you should check in, yeah, you should. Whatever gets you talking.
Reach out to a friend about their mental health.
Whatever gets you talking.
Learn how you can help at seizetheawkward.org.
The COVID-19 pandemic has created supply chain issues all across the globe. With the holidays just around the corner, demand is at an all-time high. CNN's Jen Sullivan has the story.
Taking action to strengthen the nation's supply chains.
We're heading into a holiday season on very strong shape. It's not because of luck.
President Joe Biden highlighting his administration's work to move goods more quickly.
By working with business and labor, my administration has been able to handle the huge surge in goods moving through some of our biggest ports.
On Wednesday, Biden touting his decision back in October to allow West Coast ports to operate 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to reduce congestion. Biden also praised the move by private sector port operators to eliminate fees for truck drivers picking up containers at night or on weekends. In allowing truckers to drive more hours when they're transporting gas, food, and medical supplies. Biden says over the last month, containers were left sitting on docks over 8 days. But that's changing.
Now it's down by 40%, which means they're heading to shelves and stores more quickly.
This comes as the White House waits to learn more about the new Omicron variant and whether it could pose a threat to the nation's economic recovery. Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo says Omicron could worsen a nationwide worker shortage.
It's too soon to tell, way too soon to tell. But I do worry because we know people are afraid to go to work.
But President Biden is staying positive, saying several leading retailers are telling him they're seeing progress.
The CEOs I met with this week reported that their inventories are up, shelves are well stocked, and they're ready to meet the consumer demand for the holidays.
For today's Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
The publishing industry has had to adjust a lot of changes since the emergence of the internet. The pandemic shutdowns hurt a lot of businesses, but Christian Davis found that bookstores haven't been as greatly impacted. Christian?
Thank you, Chris. With the rise of digital platforms, many industries were predicted as being on their way out. The book industry was no exception. But are iPads and ebooks really the next step in the evolution of reading? I had the chance this week to go out looking for the next chapter in the world of print. From Gutenberg to Amazon, books have played a huge part in people's lives. But since the rise of digital platforms, experts have predicted the printed word's downfall. So why has the publishing industry continued to rack in billions of dollars a year on the physical thing?
You spend a lot of time on your phone, in front of a computer. And I think when they want to relax and read a book, I think there's something tactile.
David Hess has seen it all. His store, The Bookman, has been servicing the reading community in Orange County since its opening in 1990.
There was like 34 used bookstores here in Orange County. After the internet, and they kind of whittled it down to just a few.
For Hess, the printed word is more than just a business. It's a hobby, one that connects him to his childhood.
It's what I grew up on, it's what I enjoy.
For many, the love of physical books has a nostalgia factor attached to it, calling back a time when they would go and visit bookstores in their childhood, or sit alone and read a book. But if nostalgia is at play, then why are there younger generations, people who have mostly only known digital technology, turning to physical books for comfort and solace?
My name's Hannah Shin. I'm 25. This year, I set a goal to read 100. So it very much is a very large part of my life.
For her, the experience of reading a physical book can't be recreated on a screen.
I like sitting in my room after a long day and opening a book and lighting a candle. I'm an analog person and not a digital person.
But Shin isn't the only young person who prefers analog reading. For teens on social media, physical books have also found new popularity.
People say oh, kids don't read anymore. We have had such support from young readers.
Sam Robertson's Tustin store, Arvita Book Company, stands in defiance to the idea that physical books are out.
We opened October 1st of 2020. It was in the middle of the pandemic. We're still here.
And it isn't just local stores. Nationwide physical book sales rose by 8% last year.
It's an object that's an experience. It's hey, I want to go on this journey with you. Or when I was on this journey reading this book, it made me think of you.
Despite a world racing to go digital, it would seem people aren't ready to close the books on print just yet. Christian Davis for OC News.
Wow, that's so interesting. Do you think that this is going to be a trend, Christian, or do you think that physical books will stay around for a while?
It's a great question, and it's not one that can be answered for sure, only time can tell, but there was a Nielsen report from 2019 that showed it's actually the under 40 crowd who are interested in physical books. It's mostly baby boomers supporting the ebook industry. So what will happen when millennials have kids and their kids grow up? Only time will tell.
Oh.
Well, while I'm here, why don't we go ahead and do the weather? Hi. So currently, the temperature is 65. Oops, sorry. Temperature is 65, low of 48. There was fog this morning that kept it cool, but it eventually burned off and ended up raising up to a 75. Let's look at the 5-day forecast. So it is warm. It was warm today, and it's going to start dropping off as the weekend continues. And in the lows, it's going to continue to be pretty low in the upper 40s, but huge spike on Sunday. We're going to see sunny skies and hot temperatures again. So maybe just hold off on having that hot tea next to your Christmas tree. And that's enough of the 5-day forecast. Why don't we go ahead and check out what's going on in weird weather? Canada saw some odd ice formations in Lake Manitoba this month. Balls of ice completely filled the lake, tumbling in the waves and piling up on shore. The name of this phenomenon, no joke, is slush balls.
If you have some wave and wind action that starts to churn everything up, you can get these kind of snowballs, these random snowball shapes to form.
The lake, which is located 47 miles northwest of Manitoba's capital, Winnipeg, has been receiving international attention on social media for the appearance of the ice balls. The videos spreading around this year were captured by local kayaker Peter Hofbauer.
Ontario, I think East Coast, even in other countries they've shared it. In Argentina, I think Turkey too. It's very rare to see that. I've actually never seen it.
Although the occurrence of these slush balls is rather rare, there have been recorded cases in Lake Manitoba in the past, as well as in the U.S.'s Lake Michigan back in 2010. And those snowballs are just in time to celebrate the winter season, and that's all from me for weather. Back to you guys in the studio.
Access to clean water hasn't always been an easy task for Inland Empire residents. After years of unsafe drinking water, the West Valley Water District is now expanding their water filtration system to regain trust from the community. Reporter Kenya Staley has more on the story.
Thank you. I'm here in San Bernardino County, where almost 40 years ago, the public and experts accused the U.S. military of dumping dangerous munition chemicals onto places like this that eventually spread to the groundwater basin where the public gets its drinking water. Now, the community is reluctant to trust West Valley Water District after several instances of distrust.
I do, but the same thing is going on in like Thousand Oaks.
they have the same problem with water. So I think that is some of it, but it's going on in the affluent areas too. Because if you find out about Thousand Oaks out there, they had a military plant. I don't know if it was Northrop or who it was that it was out there, and they were dumping water into the system too. So it's wherever these companies are at, but they're mostly in brown and black communities.
San Bernardino County resident Dolores Anderson has been a part of the community for almost 30 years, and she believes that the local government should be doing more to protect its residents. She's grown so much distress over time that now she uses bottled water to water her plants. Last month, the board of directors approved a $25 million project that would expand the Oliver P. Romer water filtration facility. After the expansion, the facility will have the capability to distribute 21.6 million gallons per day to the surrounding districts, ensuring safe and clean water for everyone.
I spoke with water chemist Gracie Torres here at West Valley Water District on exactly what water pollution can do to a community.
We really don't need to look far. We can look into our own backyards and see that water resources have not been taken care of like they should have. Now we're doing a better job, but we didn't before. So in Corona, they have polluted aquifers. We have Coachella Valley, where people literally don't have pipes to their home with water. In California, there's 1 million people that don't have access to clean, reliable water.
San Bernardino County Planning Commissioner Kareem Gongor expressed hope for the new generation of leaders in the Inland Empire.
But when it comes to the Inland Empire, it gets overlooked because of its designation and lack of representation. And it's unfortunate, but we have some new leadership coming through, and I think they're trying, but systemically, the system was just not meant to work overnight, and so it's going to take years, generations, to pave the way, and then hopefully we see some equity.
In an email statement, West Valley Water District ensured that they are doing everything in their power to ensure the safety of Inland Empire residents. I'm Kenya Saley with OC News. Back to you at the studio.
When OC News returns, Tiger Woods is speaking out for the first time since his near-death accident in Rancho Palos Verdes.
Plus, Cal State Fullerton and Disney find out how two Orange County favorites are collaborating.
Things running for those who rely on us. That's why we don't have time to be sick with the flu.
We don't have time for delays.
We don't have time for spills.
Next.
We don't have time for setbacks. Let's be real.
Getting the flu shot
helps you fight the flu.
Get a flu shot for yourself and those around you too.
Can I get the now bar, please? $1. Have a good one.
Got it.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey.
Let me get a now bar.
Sure.
$1.
Appreciate you.
Got it.
How prepared is your family if a wildfire shows up at your doorstep, or a flood, or an earthquake? You can't just turn away a natural disaster. That's why it's important to go to ready.gov/plan now. It has the tools and tips you need to make an emergency plan with your family. So if disaster comes knocking,
let's go.
You'll be ready to help keep your family safe.
It's just a pizza.
Yes. Make a plan today.
Freedom. It's at the core of who we are. The freedom to live without fear, to jog where we please, to wear a hoodie. The freedom to breathe. Before we celebrate the freedom most Americans have, we must fight for the freedom all Americans deserve. Because all lives can't matter until Black lives matter.
There is a lot happening in the sports world. Let's jump over to our sports reporter, Brianna Shipp, with more updates.
Thank you, Jonathan. Hi, everyone. I'm Brianna Shipp, and I have your top sports news for this week. So let's get into it. Lucky to be alive, Tiger Woods spoke out in his first interview since his car accident back in February. The GOAT of golf talked about how challenging his recovery has been. The car accident left him with a fractured tibia and fibia in his right leg. However, his focus during this press conference was specifically about his ability to play golf.
There were some tough times in there. There were some really, really tough times, and pain got pretty great at times, but he helped me get through it, and I'm on the better side of it, but I still got a long way to go.
Tiger Woods is unsure whether he will ever play golf full-time again. In college football news, ESPN came out with Week 14 rankings for college football's playoffs top 25. Georgia is still holding that #1 top spot. Shocker. But a huge jump for Michigan from #5 to #2 after crushing the Ohio State 42-27. Alabama is hanging on to that #3 spot after a rough game against Auburn. After 4 overtimes, Nick Saban and the Crimson Tide scored a 2-point conversion, winning the game 24-22. This upcoming week could shake the playoff rankings even more when Georgia plays Alabama. I guess we will just have to wait and see. In local news, our CSUF's men's basketball team hosted Wyoming in the Titan Gym on Monday. Wyoming showed up ready to keep their undefeated title. Our Titans fought hard throughout the first half of the game, but were down by 13 at the half. A refreshed Titans team showed up to start the second half, not letting Wyoming have an easy battle. The Titans creeped back up the scoreboard 38-49, making it just a single-digit game. However, our Titans were not able to make the comeback. Wyoming took home the win 79-66. We wish the men's basketball team the best of luck in their next game on Saturday, December 4th against Pacific at 5 p.m. in our Titan Gym. Well, that's all I have for you for sports this week. Back to you, Chris.
Thanks, Bree. What would it take to get your mind off of finals for just a little while? How about a fluffy companion? Well, this morning students lined up to get a chance to meet some. Counseling and Psychological Services teamed up with Titan Wellness to bring Cal State Fullerton some furry friends. Dogs like Pete amongst loving students that show their appreciation with head scratches. After relaxing for a few minutes, Titan Wellness hopes students become more aware of their anxious feelings surrounding upcoming finals and address them before they get out of hand. By hosting more of these events, the organization aims to break the stigma behind addressing mental health. Titan Wellness also provides individual counseling, drop-in groups, and other mental health services on their website and hopes to hold therapy dog events once a month next semester.
Calling all of CSUF Disney fanatics, pay attention and get your wallets ready to go. CSUF students' book and gear store Titan Shops just dropped a Disney collab this Monday. They have everything from hoodies to t-shirts to stickers. They even have pins that you can take to Disneyland to wear on your lanyard and trade. Some of your favorite Disney characters like Mickey, Stitch, and more are featured on the gear. You have to move quickly because they are only here until supplies last. So if you don't get your hands on them in time, it might be too late. We spoke with Aaliyah Diaz, a Titan Shops employee, to get more info about their new collection.
So here at Titan Shops, we have our new Disney merch. It's limited edition, so get it while supplies last. We have our lovely CSUF crew neck. This is our most popular one. And then these are our new charactered styled t-shirts. Winnie the Pooh, Stitch, and Minnie.
Well, earlier this week, legendary designer Virgil Abloh passed away. The hearts of many in the fashion world are aching over the death of Virgil, the artistic director of Louis Vuitton and founder of his own brand, Off-White. The late visionary battled a rare cardiac cancer for 2 years until he died at age 41 on Sunday. Though the world may never be the same, his legacy will live on forever, as he was an inspiration to many.
Can't get enough of Adele? Neither can Las Vegas. This week, Caesars Palace Hotel announced their exclusive residency with the singer titled Weekends with Adele. Each weekend, beginning Friday, January 21st through Saturday, April 12th of 2022, Adele will perform 2 shows with her latest album, 30, debuting at #1 on the Billboard 200 chart and hitting high numbers within the first week of its release. Many predict her residency will be a huge success.
That's all we have tonight on OC News. Be sure to tune in to our next newscast at 5 p.m. on Monday.
For all the latest updates, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page at Titan TV. From all of us at OC News, have a great night.